Thank you, Adam. So, good afternoon, everyone. Good to see you today and spend the next 57 minutes or so with you. So, I'm not sure if any of you were on the session, the kind of beginner session we did in, what was it, I think November, early December, I forget now, but a month or two ago. If you are, good to see you again. For those of you who haven't met before, my name is Mark Walton. I work at LinkedIn. Job titles are Global Client Director, which is basically a senior sales role looking after a few of our largest global clients. My kind of side gig internally, I work on our social impact board and co-lead the work we do with students and young people, which is hence the connection to the trust and being involved in the session, a couple of sessions that we've been talking about. So the previous one we did was focused on really helping you and students to understand what LinkedIn is as a platform and how to set yourselves up for success with your profile, how to network on the platform, some advice, guidance and recommendations around that. Goals for the session today, it's more focused on from a kind of schools or careers perspective. So help you understand LinkedIn as a platform, help you understand how to get your school page set up correctly, how to think about or how that doing that helps you build alumni networks and get reports and insights from that. How to think about supporting your students on LinkedIn and then also engaging with key stakeholders and local businesses. So those will be the key topics that we'll walk through today. So I think everyone should be able to see the slides okay. I can't see many people's faces there, but if someone can just give a quick thumbs up or raise a hand or something.
Yeah, we can see the slides.
Perfect. Excellent. So as we go through, feel free to ask questions at any point as we go through. You can do that by popping them into chat. You can use the raise hand functionality in Teams to raise your hands. I'll see that and be able to ask pause to ask your to answer your question. Or if you're happy, comfortable with it, just come off mute and interrupt me, ask questions at any point as we go through. There will be time left at the end for questions as well, but please do feel free to interrupt and ask questions as they come up as we go through. So, first kind of thing to think about with LinkedIn, we touched on this a bit in the beginners kind of session, what LinkedIn is, but one way to think of LinkedIn is there's a digital representation of the global economy. And then if you think about the kind of things that make up the global economy, there's people who work in the global economy, companies and organizations who employ those people, jobs and people searching for jobs, there's the skills required to do those jobs, and there's educational providers and institutions that help provide the skills, knowledge and capabilities for people to get those skills to be able to do those kind of jobs. And those are what we refer to as the economic graph, or I say, a way to think about it is as a digital representation of the global economy. And so one thing that's really powerful for schools and for students is that through LinkedIn, you can help connect your schools and help connect your students to that global economy. And so some of the stats on that, we're now over 1 billion members on LinkedIn. We passed the 1 billion member milestone back end of November. So it's a big milestone for us. Well, I've been with LinkedIn coming up 13 years, it'll be 13 years in April. I joined, we had about 85, 90 million members. And now over 1 billion, so a huge number of people on the platform. There's over 67 million companies and organizations on the platform. There's tens of millions of job seekers, people looking for new roles on LinkedIn, 65 million job seekers weekly. I mentioned the skills that people need to do those jobs. We've indexed over 41,000 skills that are required to do those jobs in the global economy, and over 133,000 schools and universities, education providers who are on the platform. If we think about just from a UK perspective, there's now over 37 million members just in the UK alone. So huge number of people on the platform, a lot of companies, a lot of value for the students, and LinkedIn a really powerful way to connect both your school and your students to that global economy at a local level. So thinking about it from a school's perspective, what can schools do on LinkedIn? There's 3 fundamental steps to success really from a school's perspective. So first off, it's about establishing the right baseline, the right foundations for you as a school. Then thinking about how you can support your students. to help them understand LinkedIn, what it is as a platform, how they can think about setting themselves up for success, and supporting them with questions, advice, guidance on maximising their time and efforts on the platform. And then it's also about growing and developing relationships. So that's at a school level, we're talking about it here. We talked about it in the previous session at a more individual level, how you can build and grow your network and grow those professional relationships. Here, focus more on how we can build network and relationships from our perspective as a school. And so we'll walk you through how you can do each of those things. So we'll start with how you can set up and establish the right foundations. So why would you want to do that? What are the benefits of having your school set up correctly on the platform? So once you have your school page set up correctly, your students, current students and alumni can add the school correctly into their profiles. They do that in the education section of their profile. When they do that, when it's set up correctly and they do that properly, it will show proper affiliation. It'll look more professional. I'll show you how you can do this in a minute and what it looks like. When they do that properly, then they automatically are following the school. So it helps you build a community of followers with current students, with alumni. One of the ways you can very quickly automatically build that community of followers over time. The value in building that followers community, both from the existing students, as well as alumni, as well as current staff who work at the school, as well as others who you're engaging with in the local community, maybe local businesses, local politicians, other folks who would be interested in kind of education and interest in your school specifically, encouraging those people to follow the school page at any opportunity you can. Help build that community of followers, because as you're doing that, there should be an ongoing process to build that community of followers. You want to engage that community of followers, and you can do that for free. And some examples are here in terms of the kind of type of content you might want to think about sharing with those followers. So that can be content for students. So it could be stuff around events you're running or organising. It could be careers help. Advice, guidance, that kind of thing that could be shared out to the followers there, to your students on LinkedIn. Similar perspective from alumni. Could be news and updates about successes that the school's been having, educational achievements, sporting achievements, developments in the schools, events you're running. Particularly if you're running academic programs or mentorship programs, or looking for volunteers, looking for work experience type of requests, raising awareness of those type of opportunities with your alumni network. People who hopefully had a good experience going through the school, have some affinity with and fondness for the school, much more likely to be able to come back and help support with those kind of requests and events that you'll be running. Can be content for parents as well. If you've got parents who are following the school, it's another channel you can push out and share that content to make sure you're reaching and engaging as many parents as possible. And also for content for local businesses. And other kind of academic or industry type of affiliations or bodies you might be part of or wanting to engage with. And again, that could be particularly related to work experience type of opportunities and programs you may be running. Another key benefit of having your school's page set up correctly and having the students, both current students and alumni, correctly affiliating themselves with the school is that it automatically sets up this alumni functionality, which provides information on your alumni, which will help you better understand where they live, where they work, what kind of industries, what kind of companies, what kind of roles, what kind of skills they've got. That alumni functionality, those kind of data reports and insights are automatically available for you based on all of your alumni. And so I'll walk you through how you can do that and what that looks like. So this slide is kind of ugly but effective workflow. So if you think about setting your school page up on LinkedIn, so first question to ask is, does your school already have a page on LinkedIn? If no, then you obviously need to set up a page to start with that. So you go to step 3 on that slide. There's a link there. It's kind of in the same sort of color as the box, but it says guidance here. That's a link that will take you to the help section of LinkedIn, and that will help you understand what you need to do, how you need to do it to set up that initial schools page for your particular for your particular school. If you do already have a page on LinkedIn, important question is whether you are the page administrator or manager, or are you working with one? If you're not, then you do need to work with a page administrator to be able to make changes to that page, or you can claim ownership of the page. So sometimes when doing these sessions, we found that somebody maybe set up the page or did some stuff on it. They might have left the school. People maybe aren't sure who actually is the page admin. So there's a process for being able to claim ownership of the page. And again, claim is hyperlinked. That will take you to information and a form where you can work through to get ownership of the page. So once you either are a page administrator or manager, or you're working with one, then you're on step 4. And this is a really important one. So is your school page set up correctly? And the simplest way to identify that is, does it have school in the URL? So again, I'll show you an example of this in a slide or so's time. But does it have school in the URL? If yes, then perfect, you're all set up. If not, might say company, then you need to request for it to be given school status and features. And again, there's a little form, a little process to do for that. The request form is linked in step 5. So you can fill that out and request that the school is flipped from a company page to a schools page. Once that is correctly set up as a schools page, then again, you're all set. So to give you an example of what that looks like, and I'll pause for any questions on this particular section, but you can see highlighted at the top here, top of the page is, so it's based on Bishop Vaizey's grammar school. See at the top of the page in the URL, you've got linkedin.com/school. Yeah, that's the key thing. So if you see your school name /school, then you're good to go. The other clues that we'll have will be the alumni functionality. It's automatically there when your page is correctly set up as a schools page. If you do not see the alumni functionality on your page, that means it's a company page. And again, you'll see that no alumni functionality, not mentioning school up there, it'll say company up there. So just pause before kind of showing you this section of how people add it to their profile. Any questions on that piece so far? No, all good. Okay, excellent. So then, if you don't have the school page set up correctly, then students and I can't add it correctly to their profiles. So at the bottom here is an example of what that looks like when it's not done correctly. So school, someone just free type Bishop Vaizey. So what you want is for your students, current students and alumni to be able to add your school in their education section. So when you set up as a schools page, they add it in the education section, they start typing in the box, and you see the example here of add education, Bishop Vaizey, see Bishop Vaizey come up there, then click on that image of Bishop Vaizey with the logo, and then that will correctly add Bishop Vaizey School to that student's or alumni profile. They'll be correctly affiliated with it, and they will automatically appear in your as one of your alumni. So if you do not select from that list, or if someone added it to their profile before the school was correctly listed, then they're not properly connected. It will show without the logo, just the free type that I mentioned before. So we want everyone, current students, get you set up correctly, and then students and alumni to correctly affiliate themselves, as well as teachers as well, and to correctly affiliate themselves with working for the school or attending the school or having attended the school. Then you'll be able to see in the alumni section, you'll be able to see the information about all of your alumni who have been through the school. And as I'm sure most of you will be immediately aware, that's a benchmark 3 benefit. So clicking on the alumni button will take you to a screen that will look like this, which will give you information on your alumni. So as it says here, you can search alumni by title, keyword, or company to find out more about who they are and kind of drill down or filter or sort of drill down into your alumni to better understand who they are, what they do, where they work, etc. You can also filter by years, so when they might have started or finished. There's some automatic data points which will be generated, so where they live, where they work. If you click next, there's a couple more of these filters which you can see. Each of the bars you see here, so United Kingdom or Jaguar Land Rover, for example, each of those are clickable filters. So in this example, if you were to click on Jaguar Land Rover, that would filter to the 22 alumni of Bishop Vasey Grammar School who work at Jaguar Land Rover and see more specific information on who they are. Something that's really helpful with that is you'll be able to explore the alumni career paths, see who those alumni are and what the career path they've taken to get to the roles that they're doing now, which if you think about kind of students and career research and pathways, how they can get to the kind of careers they might ultimately aspire to do, a really useful, powerful kind of tool to see the kind of journeys and career pathways that people have taken. And particularly where it's alumni from their school, if they see people who've done the kind of careers they aspire to do, see the pathway they've taken, they've also got a strong mutual connection where they could reach out to those people who are doing the kind of jobs they aspire to do, as we talked about in the beginner session, and ask for a kind of virtual informational type of interview, like a kind of coffee chat to find out a bit more about them, the company, what they do there, how they've got there, what kind of advice or recommendations they'd have for someone who's now a student but aspires to do that kind of job, what kind of advice and recommendations they might have to help them go on a similar path, a similar journey to that person who went to the same school as me. So a really powerful kind of connection there. So you can say, if you select the employer, you can zoom in on the alumni who went there, and then scroll down, you can see the actual profiles of the people and then reach out to them. If you need to do anything to get yourself set up correctly to either get the page created or to get it flipped from a company page to a school's page, then this was the link that was in that ugly but effective kind of workflow chart. It's on in our support team. The type of request, you can select add educational institution features, university, college or high school, or if you've got an existing page, you can combine existing pages for school and company, and it asks for your details. You submit that, then our support team will do that for you and confirm back for you when that has all been done to get you set up correctly. Okay, so segue into the next section to look at how schools can help, how you can help support your students. So some of this we covered in the beginner session effectively. So whilst legally people can have a profile on LinkedIn from the age of 12 in the UK and many other countries, because of the professional focus of LinkedIn, I would say it's not massively helpful or beneficial to anyone until they start getting towards year 11, 12, 13, start thinking about A-levels or maybe what they're going to do after school or thinking about going to university. That kind of stage of life is more the sort of time when I would say that it's most useful for young people and students to get onto LinkedIn and start setting themselves up with a profile. So as an example, I've got two kids. Our oldest is 15, turned 16 in a few weeks' time at the end of Jan. He's doing his GCSEs this year. He doesn't have a profile yet, but at some point this year, we'll get him set up with a profile, because that will start helping him as he kind of thinks about A-levels and university, etc. So benefits for students in doing that. The first two we really covered in the beginner session. So anyone who, hopefully some of you were on there, familiar with the content on there. If you weren't on there, the session was also recorded. The Careers Hub team have the recording, they have the slides that we went through. So if you weren't on that one but would like to know what we shared, what we talked about, to help people understand how they can set up their professional profile, to showcase their skills, capabilities, and particularly for students, obviously more their aspirations, and then what they've done kind of educationally, and what kind of experience they might have got outside of that, but particularly what they aspire to do at university or in career or beyond. And advice and guidance, and again, around how they can start building and growing their network. to help them with the kind of stage of life they're at. So whether that's starting to network to help university applications, or whether that's to network, start researching to help build career opportunities, or whether it's apprenticeships or whatever kind of entry-level type of jobs they might be looking for. A lot of advice and guidance and recommendations in that initial session we ran a month or two ago. For today, we'll talk a little bit more about how we can think about researching employers and universities and researching jobs and skills. And so one example is for searching here based on Jaguar Land Rover. We saw that for Bishop's Vasey, a bunch of alumni of Bishop's Vasey work there. It's just kind of keeping that same company example, but you can search for companies on LinkedIn. So the search bar, top of every page on the desktop application, and in the mobile version, search is, again, very easy to find in there. So just search for a company name that you might be interested in finding out more about and potentially working for at some point in the future. So search for the company, find the company, and then when you've got the company, you can do a lot of research on them. So you'll be able to find out about the company. They'll tell you information on LinkedIn. Obviously, they'll link to their main corporate website as well, so you can go over there and do deeper research on the individual organisations, careers websites, careers page if you're looking at careers, etc. Find out more about what they do. On LinkedIn, they'll be sharing lots of content to people who are interested in their organisation and following them. So that content could be anything from job opportunities, graduate apprenticeship type of opportunities, to new, in Jaguar Land Rover's case, it might be new cars they're launching, new models they're launching, research they're doing, awards they've won, a whole bunch of content and information they'll be sharing about their organisation on a daily basis. So a lot of research and information can be research done and information gained on organisations on LinkedIn by the students. Also recommend that they follow organisations that they would be potentially interested in working for at some point. So as you can see, for the Jaguar Land Rover page, you've got the blue follow button. So all they need to do is click on follow, then they're following that page. And that means that when Jaguar Land Rover are sharing updates with their followers, then the students will be able to see that in what we call their update stream on their homepage. So on the homepage on linkedin.com, on the desktop version of the app, you have the updates from your connections, your network, and companies you're following. Those will be things you'll scroll through in the center of the page. And the same on the mobile apps. When you're looking at your homepage, you'll have lots of updates from companies you're following, your network, etc. And you'll be able to see that kind of information, things they're saying and sharing with their followers. You can also obviously research jobs directly here. You can see a life page there that Jaguar Land Rover have. That tells you more about life at the organisation, and they'll often have, organisations will often have video of day in the life. They'll have information about different types of careers that they have. They may well showcase people who are working in those kind of careers and talking about what it is they do, what they love working about that particular organisation. So lots of rich content that can help people get a much better feeling for the organisation, and does that really kind of resonate with them as somewhere they would actually like to work at now or aspire to work at some point in the future. And they can search for specific jobs, and you can see as well in the middle of the page, create job alert. So if there's particular types of jobs, whether that's in engineering or sales or marketing or whatever function might be interesting for people to work in, they can create a job alert for the specific organisations they might be interested in working at. And once they've created that alert, then LinkedIn will automatically notify them whenever there's new jobs that match their search criteria, their alert criteria. It will automatically alert them to those new jobs. So a really powerful way to research, follow the companies, understand them, find out about jobs at those companies, working at those companies, and kind of automate the process of staying up to date with new jobs that they'll be posting and sharing. So you can also do the similar kind of thing for universities. So Nottingham Trent University example here. So again, you can find out about the university. They'll share some general stuff about them on their homepage and their about page. You can see those on the kind of middle left of the page here. They'll obviously link across to their main website. They'll be sharing posts, again, which will be things could be anything from lecturers talking about courses, content, kind of research they might be doing. It could be about from hearing from students what they like about being at that particular university. They'll talk about successes they're having, awards they're achieving, academic successes, sporting successes, all of that kind of content information that the universities will normally be posting onto LinkedIn to share with their followers. And they can also see alumni of those universities. So universities, obviously like schools, will be set up normally correctly with the schools page. And then you have the alumni functionality. So we talked that idea before about Bishop's Vesey, that idea of researching career paths of alumni. That's another way that students can use LinkedIn to research universities, a different lens they can take to assess what kind of careers people go on to do who go to particular universities they might be interested in going to. So again, they can research the alumni of those universities, they can drill down into those alumni to look at people who are doing the kind of jobs that they may aspire to do in the future. And they could potentially reach out to them if they wanted to for those kind of informational type of meetings, virtual meetings typically would recommend. But use that as a really powerful tool to explore graduate career paths based on different career subjects, different degree subjects, and different things that people have done. So again, really powerful research tool for people. And we'll pause there before going on to the final section. So if any questions on anything we've covered there, or anything that's kind of come to mind on what we've talked about so far. Yeah, Sam, let's get your hand up.
Yeah, for the level of sort of functionality that you just described for using it as a school, setting up as a school, would there be a cost involved at that level, or is it still the free kind of LinkedIn package?
Yeah, everything we're talking about here is free. 100%.
Okay. All right, thank you.
No problem. Okay, seems like no other questions for the moment. So go on to the final section. So think about how schools can grow and develop relationships with community, with businesses. So again, using the example of Bishop's Vesey, touched on this a little bit earlier, but there's going to be, once you're set up correctly as a school, if you're using the functionality effectively to be able to share updates with people, and you're building a community of followers over time, then what you're effectively doing is building up different audiences who are interested in your school. And so those audiences will be made up of these groups and possibly more as well. So they'll be made up of your current students, alumni, current staff, parents, both parents of current pupils and parents of prospective pupils. There will likely be other local schools, teachers, leaders, heads, whatever, who will be following you. Local businesses will be following you, and employers, so more kind of national employers. Again, people from those organisations will begin following you over time as you engage more with people on the platform and do more work through the LinkedIn platform. So then with those different audiences, and this is all for free, you can share content, we call status updates or posts, share those from your company page to your community of followers. And when you do that, when you share a post as a company to your followers, you have the ability to do that post to all of your followers. So everyone will be able to, will be notified of it and see it. Or you can segment your audience a little bit. So, for example, if you're doing an update that you want to send to a particular segment of your followers, there's some functionality you can use to target your updates a bit more to those particular types of people you want to reach with the particular update. So you can be a bit more targeted with some of the updates rather than just sending them to all of your followers at the same time. When you do that, it's the people who you target who will see that first. That will be pushed to them and promoted to them in their update feeds. Anyone who comes to your company page, your school's page, I should say, anyone who comes to your school page will be able to see all of the content that you published. But when you do the targeted status updates. You're showing targeted posts out to people. That's effectively sending it to a segment of your followers. They'll be automatically notified, but anyone coming to your page will be able to see all of the content that you've shared. So some examples from Bishop's Vasey on things that they have been sharing over time. So top left, first one kind of top left, it was a school closure. They wanted to ensure Year 11 having the support that's possible. Would they be interested in tutoring? So I think, if I'm right, this was around kind of COVID sort of time. And with the school closure, wanted to ensure that people could support, and then providing a link in there where people could offer to help support and tutor people. So helping support those Year 11s. At the front, the headmaster there talking about, again, during COVID time, another virtual half term, sharing the end of half term assembly on the theme of appreciation. So they've got it on their YouTube channel, they've pushed it out through here, through LinkedIn, they'll push it out through other channels as well. I'm sure there are some email lists that they'd send it out to parents as well. It's just kind of another powerful channel to use to help make sure your message is getting out to as many of the right people that you want to reach as possible. So that kind of headmaster's assembly one on the theme of appreciation obviously targeted more on existing students and potentially parents of existing students. And then the example top right, Old Vasians, what they call their alumni, a post there encouraging their followers who would be alumni, encouraging them to sign up to their alumni platform, giving 6 reasons as to why they should. So really trying to build that community over time, both on LinkedIn through reaching and engaging their followers, but also obviously driving that into their specific alumni platform that they use to manage their alumni program. So that gives some examples and a bit of inspiration as to things you can be doing and other schools are doing and see good success with doing through the LinkedIn platform. And then final piece that I'll cover before kind of pausing and opening up for kind of questions and discussions more around finding local employers. So as we said, on the desktop version of LinkedIn, search bar, top of every page. So put your cursor, so simple step-by-step how to find local employers. So put your cursor in the search bar, hit return. If you do that, you're searching obviously on something blank, but that'll take you to this screen, which has the filters on it. So you can then click on the companies button. And then when you click on the companies button, on the right-hand side, you can click on all filters, and that will open up what you see on the right-hand side, filter only companies by. And then you can click on add location. So again, around Bishop's Vasey and their location, just adding Banbury, obviously it'd be wherever you're based. You can add your local location, local town, and then hit show results. And then that will show you local employers, local organizations who are based, local companies who are based in your area. So as well as doing that, another way you can approach this, if you think about obviously there's local employers who you might want to reach out to. There's also going to be people who work for companies. They might be based in London, but they happen to live where you're based. So you can also do this in a different way by search and then people, and then filtering by people who live in your local area. And then you can filter by companies they're working for, whether it's by industry or company size. If you want to try and find some people who live locally but work for tech companies, for example, or live locally but work for manufacturing companies, you can use the same kind of process, same kind of workflow to find people who live locally but work in the kind of industries where you might be interested in trying to find someone who might be interested in coming to the school to do a careers talk, for example, or you might want to reach out to them about work experience type of programs or placements and see who maybe you can engage with there. So a couple of ways you can find local employers in the area, or people who live locally who work for organisations that you want to be able to reach out to and maybe build relationships with over time from a kind of careers and work experience type of perspective. And that was what we have in terms of content for the day. So gives us a bit of time to be able to take any comments, questions, work through anything there to make sure you're understanding that, happy and comfortable that you can do things we talked about as effectively as possible for your school. Or indeed, if there's other questions on LinkedIn that we haven't covered that you'd like to kind of ask and think about, we can cover those as well. So I'll pause here and maybe I'll stop sharing for the moment as well. I can bring the slides back up if we need to. Stop sharing, and then can see a few more faces for those who've got the video on. But yeah, any thoughts, comments, questions on what we've covered or anything else LinkedIn related?
Now's the time to ask, guys.
It's always that pause before the first brave soul dives in with something.
No real questions, Mark, but as a newbie to LinkedIn, I've signed myself up and I'm getting all my notifications about all these jobs, so probably not a good idea. There's a new role here already. I'm getting that. Go work somewhere else. But no, I can see that's been really, really good today. Unfortunately,